Hello! I wanted to just carry on building my new model. This is the BF110 from Airfix. I've done most of the cockpit. We're going to paint the gun. I had a bit of a mishap with the gun. You may tell it's a tad bent. That's because it all went wrong. I've shored it up with a bit of super glue, but hopefully you can see a little bit of detail. So I've added seat belts to the rear cockpit area here. I've added painted on dials to this fascia. This is from a reference picture I could find of a 110C. So there's a radio kit and some copies of the engine and oil dials here above. The actual original decal went back on quite well. You can't see this very well because there's a lack of light. Let me see if I can just get a better light. You see in there, Val? There we go. So we can see in there a little bit better. If I make the light indirect, it's probably even better. So you can see the dials, you can see the control stick, and hopefully just about you can see there's some nice folded. You can't see very well, but there's some nice folded straps in there. The body build was fine. There's a little bit of a gap. There's a gap here, you can just see, and there's a gap on the other side there. So we're going to plasto that and see where we go. I'm not using my PVA trick, but what we've got is warm water. I've got my dirty and clean rinse wand. So this is a rinse for standing brushes in temporarily. This is a dry one, so there's no water in that one. I have a second water. This is for rinsing brushes. So clean waters. Two of this will always be clean, this will become dirtier and dirtier, and then I have a dry and a wet holding tub. And we've got my palette, but I don't need that right now. What I actually need is my modeling knife. I've got this filler. I've also got the Humbrol filler, so we may mix some of that up in a second. I have got a sponge, but I don't really need the sponge right now. And I've got masking tape. So what I'm going to do is on the inside of the wing, so along this line, I've actually moved that for you, maybe focus better. In fact, I'll make you fly. Can I get you to see this better? So what we're going to try and do is along this edge here, get this as close to the edge as possible. Now, unfortunately, the wing root has got rivets on it. So this wing edge here has a rivet mark. So we want to try and keep them, try and retain them. But we want to fill in the other side. So there we go. Now, maybe with that on, you can just see the dark line, maybe. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe this won't focus, but it's not perfect yet. So that's all underneath. Just while we're here close up, by the way, I have painted the wheel wells. These have got cockpit green, and then I've dry brushed them with silver and highlighted the pneumatic lines with a bit of yellow, just to give them a bit of life. Actually, now fold that over. And what I need to do is get the nicer masking tape from Tamiya. And do this body. So we're going to try and do here. That piece. So I'm trying to then keep it out of the dimples, basically. And I'm going to do just one side for this session. I'd like to do both, but I don't think I'm going to have time. I need a new cocktail stick. I'm just going to smooth out the edges here with this, and let's see what we can do with the old Plasto here. Move the cocktail sticks out of the way. This is actually now, I think it's past its best. So we'll have a live unboxing of the Revell Plasto. This comes in a tube. You use the top to poke it open, so it's metal cap sealed. I'm going to seal this on really quite tightly when I've got it out. And I need to decant some, basically. That's a lot fresher than the one from the Humbrol tube. So let's just try and get the tiny amount I will need. Rubbing it in along this wing edge. This is just a piece of cardboard, by the way, so I can just get the excess off with my finger and now work it again with the cocktail stick. And I will literally let that set now on that side. Before I poured that, I should have really prepared this side after all, because I am going to get time to do it. There's a lot more of a gap this side. Take the excess off there. You can maybe see. You can see the second line. You can see the line where it joins the body and the second line right next to the tape there. Let's get a fresh piece. So I'm just protecting the detail of the fuselage from the filler with this set of masking tape. We will just push it into place, like so. And we'll use the same cocktail stick to pick some up. It's already forming a skin, so this is different to the Humbrol stuff from my experience. Now just work it again. So I'm working this along with the joint, never across it. So I'm never going to go across the model like this, because that's going to scoop it up and along the side, the upward side of the fuselage. We don't want that. So back here was another spot Needed a touch of filler. I think this the boom attachments arrangement is the weakest part of this kit. Right now, so you can see quite how this attaches in a up across under the up and over, and you end up with this bar like piece just here. It's not fab. Let's just have a look what else. So the other piece that we needed to do was just here in front of the fuselage. Which I will do fit to the right, fit to the left, and a fit over the cowling there. And I can't really get down into the cockpit, but if I just push this into place, it's not going to go down and in there per se. Quite impressed with the Revell Plasmo already. Because it's masked, there's no big deal about going over the top of the sides, either side. But what I have got is the fine grain finishing paper. This is Tamiya. So this I've got 1200, 1500, and 2000 grit in here. We'll start off with the 1200 if I can find it. So it says on the back. That's 2000. That's 1500, 1200. So a new piece of this. That's all I need of that. We won't need that for a couple of hours, but I will be there. And I actually use, this is just a tooth mouth floss, tooth floss box, but you'll see it's rounded. So if you want to get into, this shape inside, inside a shape of a fuselage, this works really well for that. Well, obviously you can get different shapes that do different things. I actually use, for a sharp edge, I use the cocktail box lid and get right into the corners I need to. Anything would do, anything at all. This needs to now just set. What I really need to do is fill that hole there. So these were originally drilled by the original owner of the kit. This was a kit from eBay listed as started badly, but see, I've done things slightly backwards in that I need to prop the unit up without breaking that gun. So I think we can go with the less expensive stuff for this. I'm probably going to lose one panel line as I'm in here filling these holes in, but needs must. I'm not even going to try and clean up the glue fore and aft. So there's glue here and there's glue under this tape now. I'm not even going to worry about that right now. Let's have a dot more fresh Plasto. That's the first one, and the second one actually is a piece here. Literally just noticed. And there's the same up here. I'm just pushing it into place like that. So before I lose this panel line completely in this Plasto, I'm going to just score it out. I haven't got a plastic scribe. I used to have one, but for reasons I'm not going into, I lent this box of stuff to my father-in-law, and the plastic scribe never came back. I think he used it for something else completely. But clean that up. That now all needs to sit and go. So the Plasto is now, that original bolt is now really quite hard. This one here, not so bad. That will now have a couple of hours to just go off, and I will come back and sand it up and do some bits and bobs. Thank you for sticking around for these 17 minutes of just relaxing and filling putty. I'm hoping we're going to do something with paints later on. It depends on building the engines. Maybe I may do this cleanup and then do the engines. They're not on right now because, of course, you don't want to be moving backward and forward right here in this area with propellers and having them twang off. This gun is already enough of an issue. Then we will paint that gun. The only other thing that I've done is mask off the canopy, which will sit on there quite well, but don't want it to stick just yet. So I shall see you soon.